trying to say I'm tongue-tied, whenever you are near me. I'm mummy, 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 whenever you're around, whenever you're around, girl.
So, continuing this look at the cat, Season 3 shows Cat gradually becoming a legitimate member of the crew, even a borderline valued member of the crew, and even becomes a pilot. He doesn't do a whole lot of piloting this season, but it's shown that he's capable of it if while under supervision. This is also the point where he stops doing over-the-top cat things like licking people and obsessing over fish, and his catness is more along the lines of just his general attitude and dress.
Do you think Wilma's sexy?
Backwards opens up with a Wilma Flintstone discussion. I said this before, but I feel like it's a little out of character for Cat to be that familiar with the Flintstones, at least this early in the series. I could see him having heard of it, maybe watched a few episodes, but I don't know, maybe I'm just being weird.
This is an insane conversation. She'll never leave Fred, and we know it.
It is a cute scene, and there isn't really any point in overanalyzing it. I do like that he's in Lister's bed again, forcing Lister to sit on Rimmer's bed. Like, how often do cat owners settle for a less comfortable chair just to avoid disturbing the cat? That's what it makes me think of.
They're gone, buddy. Look on the bright side. They're gone, buddy!
However, Cat does show a very Season 1 and 2 attitude once Rimmer and Crichton disappear.
Don't you care about anyone but yourself? Hell no! I don't even care about you!
Like I said in the intro video, that makes me cringe a little. Fortunately, he does grow out of this for the most part and begins to focus his indifference mainly on Rimmer like everyone else. Also, he perms his leg hair.
Only as an aid to the natural curl.
How does that even work?
Fasten your belt. Hey, I do not need fashion tips from you.
He's not wrong, though that's not what Lister meant.
An orange whirly thing in space. We're going in. Are you crazy? You can't go in there! Orange with this suit?
What are you talking about? Everything goes with black. Cat doesn't do a whole lot in this episode that's all that memorable. Mainly he acts as Lister's sidekick and makes asshole-ish comments.
Bye, suckers! You lost your bike!
Come to think of it, though, he does do one cat thing.
Got to stop him! Don't ask.
Okay, so there is a book loosely based on this episode, which I have not read, but apparently it reveals another cat-like thing about Cat that falls very much into the TMI, not to mention the not safe for work category. In case you didn't know, a male cat has barbs on its... Mother Nature just played a really cruel joke on female cats, okay? You know how a female cat makes a lot of noise and then attacks the male afterwards? Yeah, it's because mating is excruciating for them. Seriously, what the fuck, Nature? Anyway, in the Backwards novel, it's revealed that Cat has that feature, and some poor human woman finds out the hard way. And that's why I haven't read it and don't plan to, because yikes. Anyway, I consider that particular thing to be non-canon to the show, because in Season 4, Cat brags about being able to thrust really fast, and the point of the barbs is to keep it in one place, so those two things don't go together. Okay, enough of that awkwardness.
I'm just taking the bare essentials too. 36 changes of clothing and 10 full-length dress mirrors.
Cat has very little screen time in Marooned, naturally since it's a Rimmer and Lister episode. But I can't help but notice how happy he is when he and Crichton find them and even says that he was worried.
I've been so worried, I haven't buffed my shoes for 2 days.
That's a hell of a turnaround from Backwards, so to speak.
Something smells good. What is it? It's me. I love this aftershave.
It's easy to miss, but notice this bit in Polymorph when Crichton exits a room while Cat enters and they high-five each other as they pass. It's really subtle because the show usually pairs Cat up with Lister and Crichton with Rimmer, but in the brief scenes when Cat and Crichton are together, they get along super well. It probably helps that Crichton tends to be non-judgmental, so he isn't as appalled by Cat's behavior as the others can be, and I'm sure Cat appreciates that.
I'm supposed to cut my food with a scalpel? Something that's been inside someone's guts?
Anyway, Cat shows disgust at Lister serving dinner with medical supplies.
You think I got nothing better to do than hang around watching you serve chicken chassa in a stool bucket?
Which kind of goes against some of his more animalistic qualities in the first 2 seasons. I like to think that that just means that he's matured a bit and is adapting to being around humans.
Excuse me.
Well, humans that aren't as gross as Lister. And a little bit later, he shows some concern for Lister.
Are you okay?
Seriously, I know it's just 3 words, but I think Cat saying, "Is he okay?" shows a lot of growth for him. Consider that in season 2, he saw Lister passed out on the floor and just marked him and moved on, and later refused to help him because he was too busy having lunch. Speaking of Cat's growth, this is the first time we see him using a bazookoid. Well, technically it's the first time we see anyone using a bazookoid, but can you imagine them trusting Cat with a weapon in the first 2 seasons? And he shows later on that he becomes pretty damn good with one.
Holograms don't produce heat, and neither do androids. What are they homing in on?
Anyway, we see some cat-like agility as he's avoiding getting hit by heat-seeking projectiles. Because Cat is hot. No argument there. Anyway, it's mostly played for laughs, but some of these moves are impressive. Not to mention how he lures them into some kind of elevator shaft.
Got it or you ain't. Boys, you ain't even close.
At this point, the polymorph shows up in the form of a female cat. I honestly didn't get at first that this was supposed to be a female cat due to the lack of canines, but the overly ornate hair and clothes give it away.
It's dangerous. It can turn into anything.
By the way, how dumb is Cat that he doesn't think anything of it when a female cat suddenly shows up out of nowhere? I wonder if he still holds any delusions that there are still other cats on the ship. I suppose I could partly explain it. Either way, she lays on the compliment super thick to appeal to his vanity.
I'd really like to make love to a guy like you.
Like a kid at Christmas.
Hi, I'm the cat.
I never thought about it before, but I think he just confirmed that he doesn't have a name other than what the crew calls him.
Oh my goodness!
I probably said this when I covered this episode, but I love Crichton petting him. That's precious. Anyway, what happens to Cat when he loses his vanity? He becomes a homeless guy. Technically, he becomes someone who has no self-esteem and doesn't care what he looks like, so he wears rags and drinks all the time.
Don't ask me my opinion. I'm nobody. Just when I'm not here.
Which translates to basically the same thing visually.
What am I wearing? If I don't get into some coordinated evening wear.
Coordinated evening wear is a good description of how he normally dresses.
Auto-destruct sequence initiated.
On to body swap. I love his flat delivery of this line.
That was a very dumb thing you just did there.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when even Cat knows you did something stupid.
It's Lister's mind.
Yeah, if you want something important kept safe, give it to Cat. That's never a bad idea. He and Rimmer both have a great reaction to that.
We haven't got a bomb.
Why didn't you say?
You never asked.
But remember this. You're getting my underwear bill, buddy.
One thing about Cat is that he makes a lot of those brown trousers sort of comments. Actually, there were even a couple in Tongue-Tied that I didn't think to point out before.
My breakfast left my body. My trousers, they go brown, girl.
I kind of get a kick out how that contrasts with how pretty and elegant he looks.
That's my special report!
It won't be special in a minute.
And if you're a cat owner, you probably know how true to life that is. They're usually clean and pretty, but they can also be gross. There's also a rare moment of Cat getting his comeuppance. He sees what looks like Lister dressed as Rimmer and questions him about it with a string of insults aimed at Rimmer.
Why do I want to look like that smeghead Rimmer for?
Because...
Only to find out the hard way that it is Rimmer in Lister's body. I love Cat, but he does push his luck a lot, so when he gets his comeuppance, it's hilarious. The fact that it's so rare makes it even more funny when it does happen. Classic moment where they're playing Scrabble and Cat tries to use a cat word.
It's the sound you make when you get your sexual organs trapped in something.
Who knows if it's real or if he just made it up as a way to use the obscure letters.
If you're reading in the nude and you close the book too quick.
So Lister, who is in Rimmer's body, needs to fly Blue Midget, so he wants to switch bodies with Cat.
I'll do it.
Instead, Cat proves that he can pilot a spaceship, thank you very much. And here Rimmer pulls a prank on Lister that Cat laughs at. He may hate Rimmer, but if Rimmer is being funny at Lister's expense, Cat's not opposed to joining in on the mocking. Maybe Crichton's laughing is a little out of character, but oh well. Poor Cat becomes another victim of Rimmer's body stealing.
Plastic Percy here puts a sponge on my face and out go the lights.
But at least we get to see him do this. Even if it's technically Rimmer doing it. That's just a great visual. In time slides...
Yes, 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 yes!
Cat makes an annoying opponent, imagine that. But apparently he and Lister play immature games all the time.
I'm sick of stretching a pair of tights across the room and playing Durex volleyball.
And I think that's kind of cute.
Unicycle polo.
Fun fact, Danny John Jules can ride a unicycle. Add that to dancing, juggling, roller skating, and singing. We don't get to see him do that one on the show. Yet. Anyway, the whole owner-pet dynamic has mostly gone away, though it occasionally crops up in subtle ways, and they mostly come across like BFFs now. Apparently in real life, Craig Charles and Danny John Jules were drinking buddies, and I think it helps their characters' chemistry.
But don't come running to me next time you want someone to play soapsud slalom down the cargo ramp.
Later on, Lister figures out how to get into a photograph with snow in it, and check out those cat-like reflexes.
Meaning?
I just want to point out that Cat is reading a Marilyn Monroe magazine here.
Who is that jerk?
About the only other thing Cat does is make fun of Lister's younger self.
Look at that collar. You could go hang gliding. The guy's an idiot. It's me. Exactly.
And then get retconned for a while. I still hate that Lister does that to him and Crichton.
Hey, what is this?
In The Last Day,
Build it yourself Marilyn Monroe droid.
here's another Marilyn Monroe scene. I mean, it could just be general curiosity, but I like to think that it caught his interest because Marilyn Monroe. And then he asks this.
You think he'll try and seduce her?
Just plastic underpants and a trademark.
I mean, he's got no...
No.
How does he write his name in the snow?
I love Lister's reaction, like, you really ask the hard-hitting questions, Cat. During Crichton's going-away party, Cat is
Come on, sit down, let me pour you a drink.
almost uncharacteristically friendly towards him. I mean, everyone is being super nice to him, really, and that show of camaraderie is what I love about this episode, but
Give him the presents.
when even Cat is doing it, you gotta know that Crichton is well-loved. And the bit where Crichton gets his gift is just adorable.
It's one of your earrings!
That's right.
It's the one you really hate!
Cat is just so tickled about it, despite it being such a lame gift. But I think that Crichton gets how rare it is for Cat to be even that generous, so while his thank you comes across as a little condescending,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think he means it. They both look so happy, it just makes me all warm and fuzzy. Also, Cat comes across as a lot more worldly than he did the first 2 seasons.
It's all right, buddy. It's all part of being drunk. You've been through the happy stage, now you're going through the melancholy stage.
He's basically able to hold his own in any casual conversation now and isn't just hanging out in the same room with everyone without paying attention to what's going on. Again, I think that's the others rubbing off on him. He's definitely one of the gang now.
It's not a good night unless you get a traffic cone. It's the policewoman's helmet and the suspenders I don't understand.
My favorite part is that while they do all agree to defend Crichton, Cat is the first one to speak up about it.
Hey, we're supporting you, man. There's one of him and 4 of us, right?
This could either be part of how he's one of them now, or the fact that he and Crichton get along really well, as I mentioned earlier, or it could be a little of both.
But if he thinks he can mix it with the Red Dwarf posse on their homeboy turf, the sucker's leaving a scrap metal.
Then again, I guess any excuse to wield a bazookoid like a badass is a good one. Of course, like everyone else, he chokes once he sees what they're actually up against.
Hi, good trip? You don't talk to me back up?
So even though we don't know what happened to the second arc of Cats, there is evidence that they made it far enough to interact with other ships. This android knows what Cat is, though it's a misspelling. His race is usually called Felis sapiens, and here it's Felix sapiens. Felis sapiens is such a cool name, though. I thought it might be obscure enough that I could borrow it for my own characters, but it's got a Wikipedia article making it less obscure than I thought, so that'd be a bad idea. Cat's makeup is mostly unchanged, except that I think there's less of it around the eyes and such. But his wardrobe and hairstyles are all over the place. You can tell that the creators picked this season to start experimenting with his look a lot more. So in general, gone are the palette-swapped Cab Calloway-inspired suits. And I don't know if there's a straightforward way to describe his outfits in this season overall, because they differ from each other so much. And one of the very few cases of them reusing one is in the opening of Backwards, where he's wearing the robe and rollers in his hair from Thanks for the Memory. After that, he's wearing this outfit that is all black and gold. Glittery gold shirt paired with loose-fitting black pants tucked into black boots, with this black waist-length fuzzy jacket with tassels on the shoulders and some big gold pins with chains running between them. There's also a colorful vest that's almost hidden. Again, he's really good at adding just enough color and bling with a lot of black to balance it out. Also, can we talk about Cat's hair in this episode? It's kind of full just on top, and the rest is pulled back into a long French braid with a couple of gold beads of some kind woven into it. Man, this is a beautiful hairstyle, and this is the only time he ever wears it. Again, Cat has very little screen time in Maroon, so it's hard to get a really good look at what he's wearing, but parts of it show up again in later seasons. Again, I'm no expert on fashion, but I think he bends a fashion rule here, but he makes it work. He's wearing a shirt, tie, vest, and jacket, and each has a different print. I think there's a rule about mixing prints, but in this case, it's all in black and white, which kind of brings it all together. He has it paired with what I'm pretty sure are black velvet leggings and boots. I wish we got a better look at it because I'm pretty sure he never wears leggings again. Also, there's a big pin on the jacket's lapel, but it's hard to see. Later on, we see the outfit again with an oversized black and white fur coat and hat added, and the hat has a big pin on it. The hat and coat returns pretty much whenever they're in a really cold environment. I think the coat makes its last appearance in Season 9. His hair is also interesting. It looks a bit similar to the previous episode, but instead of forming a braid in the back, it's kind of in a loose ponytail secured with a claw clip. In the beginning of Polymorph, we see him wear leopard print for the first time. Leopard print is so appropriate for him. Because you know that cats have delusions of being big, powerful predators, but really they're just adorable little goofballs. That's kind of Cat in a nutshell. Anyway, it's a longish jacket that's kind of thick looking, paired with a sparkly gray shirt with a matching tie and maybe a vest too. It's a little hard to see. We can't see the pants too well, but I'm pretty sure they're black. His hair is basically a throwback to seasons 1 and 2 with a slightly fuller ponytail. In fact, if I don't mention his hair after this point, that's why, since it's kind of his default style for this season whenever the makeup department doesn't decide to do something different with it. His outfit later on is kind of disco-y. I'm not crazy about it, but the lighting they use for this scene does hit it in an interesting way. Anyway, it's a metallic silver jacket with fringe. Why do they make leather look metallic? That's just wrong. And I stand corrected, he is wearing black leggings again here, with black boots that have some kind of silver metal detailing and some kind of knee guards as well. I can't make out the shirt too well, but I'm pretty sure it's black. He's also wearing a black headband with silver trim, and I'm not a fan of this hairstyle. I'm not going to talk about Cat's homeless look because it just kind of speaks for itself, but I will point out that he's wearing comical bedroom slippers, just because it's easy to miss and is probably the funniest part of it. In the beginning of Body Swap, he's wearing probably one of my favorite outfits. It's a silver and black zebra print jacket with a plain black shirt and pants. Also a silver seashell pin on the lapel, and a huge silver earring in the shape of a fish skeleton. This must have come out during that time in the 80s when it was fashionable to wear one long earring. Also the sea theme with the fish skeleton and seashell is kind of clever. His hair is almost season 1 and 2, but the ponytail is a bit longer and it's secured with something silver in the back that's a little hard to make out, but I think it's cylinder shaped. Later on, he's wearing a satin brown shirt with black trim and black pants. Later, he adds a waist-length leopard print jacket. Also, his hair is mostly just down in the back. I don't think that looks good with how stiff it is. Also, I can't help but notice that when he's piloting the ship, he wears the headset with the band hanging under so as not to mess up his hair. In Time Slides, he's first seen wearing that golf outfit from Better Than Life again. I guess he really takes this little tabletop golf game seriously. The only other outfit he wears in Time Slides is this paisley shirt with a black vest with some kind of print on it that's kind of hard to make out, and black pants. Later on, he adds, oh god, another metallic leather jacket with fringe. This time it's gold and has some black fur on the shoulders. Also this amazing hat. I have no idea what you'd call this sort of hat, but it's unique. There's a pin on it that I think is a gold leopard or something. Somehow this outfit is less offensive to me than the one with the silver jacket. I think it's because there's more black on it, so it's a bit better balanced. Could also be that the lighting isn't causing the jacket to look like it's radioactive. Also, now you can see that the pants have gold trim on them. Also, his hair looks mostly season 1 and 2, but it's got a French braid down the back again. Unlike in Backwards, though, it's a short braid. In The Last Day, he starts off wearing plaid, which I normally don't like when it's more than 2 colors, but as usual, he pulls it off. Anyway, the jacket is different shades of red and blue, though due to being plaid, it looks purplish from a distance, and it's paired with a black shirt and a black sparkly vest. That tie is also plaid, but mostly red, with a matching handkerchief. Hard to see the pants, but I think they match the jacket. Come to think of it, plaid aside, it's a bit season 1 and 2-ish. At Crichton's party, Cat actually wears a black tux just like everyone else. How unusual. Though there is some bling in his ponytail and his tie is a bit more colorful. His final outfit is almost all red. Red satin shirt with lots of gold chains, red and black waist-length fur coat, with red satin pants and a gold stripe on the sides. The only thing I don't like are the metallic gold boots. Yikes, too much. I should have mentioned this earlier, but I'm just kind of noticing it at the last minute here. While Cat's default hairstyle for Season 3 is similar to Seasons 1 and 2, it's actually kind of side-swept and at times there's a little suggestion of bangs. I don't know how I missed that before, but there you go. In Season 4, Cat is still dumb, but in a regular dumb person way, and not so much a cartoon cat in a human suit kind of way. Example, he can carry on normal conversations with Lister and Crichton, but he's impressed at Crichton being able to name fruit accurately and doesn't get that the point is to get Crichton to lie.
You taught him that? That's terrific!
But he does at least try to understand what's going on,
What are you trying to do exactly?
and then he gets bored when he sees it isn't going anywhere.
Whatever happened to old Handy?
This conversation is kind of random, but they're talking about an actor who was a hamster.
The dude was a diva. He smoldered. The camera loved him.
If this were a season 1 episode, Kat would be trying to eat the hamster through the screen. I bet you all thought I forgot to talk about the novel version of Better Than Life and some of the messed up things it reveals about Kat. I actually didn't. I was saving it for this point because Lister says a line that seems completely random and didn't really make sense to me until after I listened to the reading of the Better Than Life novel, though the scenario I'm talking about actually started near the end of Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers. Basically, we're setting up the point where Kat is about to meet the vision of his perfect mate in the form of Camille's glamour ability. And Lister says this weird line.
Well, knowing you, a 6-foot Valkyrie warrior maiden in scanty armor with a cleavage you can ski down.
And that's a bit out of place, and I wondered where Lister got that from and why Kat seems to agree with it, since it seems to go against his apparent attraction to Marilyn Monroe, not to mention just human women in general. Well, apparently it's a reference to the novel version of Better Than Life, where Kat had a harem of 7-foot-tall Valkyrie warriors. So there's where that comes from. He also did things like play croquet that involved knocking small animals around instead of balls, and there was a scene where it looked like he was going on a fox hunt, but after sending out the hunting dogs, he shoots all of them, revealing that he was actually hunting the dogs. Yeah, the book version of Kat was a lot less cuddly. I'll take the TV version, thanks. Anyway, back to the episode. Kat's about to meet his perfect mate, and
Hi, buddy.
here's the punchline.
I'm the object of my own desire. Can you think of anyone more deserving?
Part of what makes this scene so much fun is that anyone else would probably be horrified to learn this about themselves. But Kat is not only okay with it, but actually happy about it. He leaves the room looking like he's experiencing afterglow,
Someone get me a brandy.
and the way he teases Lister about not telling him what he saw is really cute.
What did you see? My legs are still shaking.
Sir, I respect your sense of dress more than anything.
You and I are probably the only ones, Crichton.
Crichton, if I was going out with a large ball of green slime, that's how I dress.
Also, Kat just called him by his name directly, which is really unusual. DNA starts with Kat stopping progress in the scanning room by unplugging their computer so he can plug in his hairdryer. Like, why does he need to do it there? Maybe they aren't supposed to leave that area until they figured out what's going on.
Unplug my hot wax strip unsightly hair remover?
Also, he waxes his bikini line.
We finally get to encounter an alien species and I have to meet them with a wavery bikini line.
Hey, the aliens won't know, but he will.
All right, okay. I'll use gel. Everybody happy?
So they go to split up, and Rimmer refuses to go with Kat.
You flee at the first sign of trouble, you only look after number one, you're narcissistic and you're self-obsessed.
You just listed all my best features.
After they split up, I nearly missed the fact that Kat's fixing his hair in this shot. I don't know why, though, it seems obvious now. So, slightly reminiscent of that bit I love in Stasis League, Kat gets away from Lister again. I love how he's just drawn to the colorful panel, so he immediately runs over to it and starts pushing buttons. Lister gets trapped in a beam of some kind, and Kat insists that he can fix it, so he just keeps pushing random buttons.
Crichton! Relax, would you? I know what I'm doing.
At this point, even he knows he's screwed up, but he still insists on trying to fix it. Arrogance and stupidity is a bad combination.
Why don't I go and get Crichton?
By the time he finally admits that he should go get Crichton to fix it, it's too late. He has turned Lister into a chicken.
What can I say except, whoops.
Later, Kat is being unusually helpful with Rimmer, trying to get his DNA out of some old dandruff of his. I guess Kat was just really bored. Also, he doesn't get that dandruff is just dead skin that would have regular DNA in it.
The first time you take a shower with medicated shampoo, you'll disappear.
That's just cute. And yet he's still smart enough to point out the abuse of DNA research.
What about the dude with 3 heads? What happened to him?
Granted, he's kind of following Lister's lead, but again, in Season 1 he would have been in the background batting at a string or something.
Are you two seriously suggesting you're not going to use it? There's nothing about your bodies you'd like to improve?
Really, Rimmer? Did you forget who you were talking to?
Most people leave their bodies to medical science. I'm leaving mine to the Louvre, babe.
Also, despite the way he worded it being played for laughs, he definitely shows some compassion for Lister.
When a woman screws you up so bad, you want to become a squirrel.
And so much for Rimmer's idea to clone himself.
Maybe I could wear a turban and pretend I'm from India.
Maybe you can stick a spike in your head and pretend you're the Taj Mahal.
Justice starts off with Lister having had an ailment where his head has swollen up, and he expresses being annoyed with Kat for not having visited him during the worst of it. Kat's response is basically, "Of course I didn't, look how disgusting you are." Anyway, there's a stasis pod where there might be a woman inside, and Kat immediately believes that he will be the one she's attracted to.
So she's just an ordinary person who doesn't go for your type.
I'd have heard about her. She'd have appeared in Ripley's Believe It or Not.
And this points to a fun aspect of Kat's character. He has never met a woman, and yet his ego is such that he believes, without any doubt, that women find him irresistible.
Let's face it, buddy. I have a body that makes men wet.
And it's not as if he's hard to look at. A lesser show might have given this attitude to an ugly character and killed the subtlety. It's just meant to point to how highly he thinks of himself.
It can do 150 pelvic thrusts a second.
Then there's the thrusting comment.
That's me in slow-mo. Put a Black & Decker drill on the end and I can make it through walls, boy!
Anyway, there might be a dangerous criminal in the pod. Spoiler, of course there is. And Kat wants to take the badass approach.
Why don't we tool up the bazookoids, wait for the pod to open, and if it's one of these bad-ass android dudes, let it eat laser.
Again, any excuse to wield a bazookoid. Anyway, Kat has been particularly shitty towards Lister. So here's the payback.
His head burns. I don't want to live. Oh, please, shoot me in the head.
Not that he learns anything from it, because once Lister shows some concern about getting in trouble after the mind probe, Kat mocks him.
Hey, I hear they do good bread and water here, buddy.
You're such an asshole. This is kind of weird. Usually Kat has a pretty reliable sense of smell.
Can I smell perfume?
I doubt it.
Are you by any chance Barbara Bellini?
That's some serious desperation there. Like, if that was Barbara Bellini, he'd still want to hit that. But Kat's arrogance and stupidity comes back to bite him one more time. Kat getting hit and turning stiff as a board before doing a cartoony fallover is a running gag that happens a few more times throughout the series. Speaking of running gags,
We laser our way through.
White Hole starts the one where Kat has a great idea with only 2 minor drawbacks.
1, we don't have a power source for the lasers, and 2, we don't have any lasers.
That's a Cheshire Cat smile right there.
So how come Grand Canyon Nostrils is still here?
I don't know what it is about Grand Canyon Nostrils specifically, but that's one of my favorite cat nicknames for Rimmer. Other than that, Kat doesn't do a whole lot in White Hole that's unusual. Mainly he's just kind of mean to Lister, and he has a few lines that are great.
Yeah, we're cooking now! How'd you want yours, permed or blow-dried?
Though this bit got even funnier and messed up when I realized that Kat is wearing a fur coat while demanding the electric blanket.
Pedal!
Talk about entitled.
Wake me in 8 hours.
So in the end, when it's down to Rimmer's idea or Lister's idea, Kat actually agrees with Rimmer but sides with Lister because of Rimmer's dress sense.
I couldn't put my cross next to the brine nylon party. I've seen Gerbil Face play down in the recreation room.
Gerbil face. Also, Kat doesn't know how pool works.
I have never once seen him lose a single ball down one of those holes.
In Dimension Jump, yeah, when I originally covered this episode, I was confused about how Rimmer being held back a year at school resulted in Kat being human, because I thought that all of these characters were alternate universe versions of the main ones on the show. Now I think it's just the actors playing different characters, with the exception of Spanners being alternate Lister with a cool nickname. In other words, in my opinion at least, this isn't Kat, this is Danny John Jules playing a different character. It's still fun seeing him play a character who is so different from Kat, though. After that, Kat mostly just acts extra insensitive toward Rimmer while everyone else is trying to tiptoe around the fact that they don't want him around.
It's not easy, you know, to come in every night, look in that mirror and see a guy nobody likes.
How'd you think we feel? We gotta look at it all day. Why haven't you got the guts just to tell the dude nobody likes him? Well, that's what I'd do. I'd say, hi, buddy, how's it going?
Kind of weird that he suddenly won't be upfront about disliking Rimmer. Rule of funny, I guess. Anyway, Kat gets injured when Starbug crashes, getting a nasty-looking compound fracture in his leg.
I'm bleeding an unfashionable color.
He doesn't even seem to notice the pain. He's too busy freaking out over the blood clashing with his outfit.
Make sure he doesn't get gangrene.
Gangrene? Green with apricot. I think I could pull that off.
Even when Crichton snaps the bone back in place, Kat just reacts to how boring his reading material is. Obviously, about 90% of this situation is weirdly played for laughs, but here's something to contrast with it a little. Notice Lister holding Kat's hand and petting him. That's so sweet.
What about the guy in the sharp suit?
I like how Ace compliments Kat's outfit.
I love the Cuban heels.
I think it's meant to be a contrast of how everyone else hates Rimmer, but everyone gets along with Ace. Though both Ace and Kat have somewhat unusual taste in style, so there's that too. Anyway, Kat is delirious, so naturally it affects his fashion sense.
Sock suspenders, shoes with cardigans, paisley with stripes.
See, I knew you weren't supposed to mix prints. I knew I'd heard that somewhere. Meltdown has the first mention of Rimmer's light bee, and I love how it's brought up.
Well, of course, you do have a small physical presence.
Precisely.
Kat's mind went straight to the gutter. And going by the look on Holly's face, I think that's what she was going for. After Kat and Lister get thrown into prison, Lister sees what's going on outside the window.
Oh, nothing.
And he's a little protective of Kat here in that he tries to sugarcoat what he's seeing so Kat won't be too upset.
If it's gallows, say it's gallows. I can take it.
Okay, it's gallows.
Probably because Kat cried a little while before that when Lister mentioned torture.
Hey, torture!
Poor scared kitty.
Hey, buddy, we just, you know...
Silence, scum!
A bit later, Kat says a lot of stupid things to wax droid Caligula, who takes it out on Lister.
We all feel peckish after making love, but most of us settle for pizza.
You are an impudent fool.
But Kat just cannot keep his mouth shut.
You think I'm insane?
I don't think he's even doing it on purpose. Look how he flinches when Lister tells him to shut up.
Shut up!
He doesn't say anything in regards to Rimmer basically committing genocide on the wax droids, but he just kind of silently backs up Lister. You can tell that even Kat knows how messed up that is. Once again, Kat's makeup appears to be mostly unchanged, and his hair is reverted to pretty much season 1 and 2, maybe a little bit sleeker. And costume-wise, he's been scaled down to 1 per episode, with only a few articles here and there that are reused from previous seasons. Also, Kat's outfits feel less experimental than in season 3. If nothing else, there's usually a long coat involved, which kind of unifies them. There's also a lot of jungle print this time around. I love that the one he's wearing in Camille, the first episode of the season, ends up being an iconic one. The base is black vinyl pants and top with a pink tunic of some kind over it. There's something about the shape of it that seems vaguely Star Trek-y to me. Secured with the cat belt. He's also wearing a little silver heart on a chain, literally the only guy I know who can pull that off. Later on, he's wearing a long zebra print coat that has a big flashy pin. After this, zebra print kind of became his trademark in a way. On the rare occasion when you see Kat fan art or cosplay, it usually involves this outfit, if not a similar one from season 7. In DNA, he's wearing black sequined pants and shirt, along with what I think is the silver jacket from Polymorph, except that it has oversized jewels in different colors going up the left arm, with one on each shoulder as well. Either those were added later or I just didn't spot them the other time. There's also an elaborate silver belt involved. This is another one of those outfits where it's almost too much, but the black balances it out, even with the sequins. The only part I don't like is the oversized jewels on the jacket. The outfit from Justice is another one of my favorites, though I may be a bit biased because I love purple. A frilly satin lilac-colored shirt along with shiny purple pants with stirrups and a crushed velvet deep purple waistcoat with jeweled buttons, along with gold jewelry and a chain belt with a giant dangling cross earring. There's even purple gloves with an oversized ring, and even the shoes are purple. It looks very Prince-like to me. If this wasn't inspired by Prince, I'd be very surprised. I want to say that his makeup looks a bit different in this one, making him look almost doll-like, but I can't put my finger on what's different. I feel like they made him extra pretty because he was going to get covered in Lister's head pus later, so it would be that much more funny. That could be my imagination, though. In Whitehole, he's wearing the red and black coat from the end of The Last Day, along with a plain black shirt and pants. This one is nice because it's simple and classy, except if you look really close, sometimes you can see a black sequined fanny pack. That kills it a little. I just cannot be okay with a fanny pack, I don't care if it was the early 90s. His outfit in Dimension Jump is kind of pimp-like, with his big old long coat and a brimmed hat. Anyway, it's apricot according to Kat. Pants that are crushed velvet and a shirt that's got a matching brooch, with a glittery black vest and another long fish skeleton earring. The hat is black with studs and a plume of feathers in it, and the jacket is leopard print with a hood and black fur lining. In Meltdown, Kat is wearing the sort of outfit that only he can get away with. I'm only just now noticing, but I believe that shirt is the one from Body Swap. Only now I'm noticing that it looks more copper than brown. Anyway, he's wearing it with a vest, tie, and pants that are all copper and have a snakeskin texture, gold boots, actually those might be from The Last Day as well, and a long leopard print coat. I think what makes it work is that the coat covers most of it so it doesn't feel like too much. The boots are pushing it a little, but at least the pants aren't tucked into them like in The Last Day, so we're seeing a lot less of them. And that's Kat in seasons 3 and 4. Again, I was hoping to cover more in this video, but it's running long. So there will be one more in this batch where I'll cover season 5 and Red Dwarf USA. See you then!
My knees began to quiver, and I got a funny feeling in my kidneys and my liver. Digestive system, baby. My hands, they started shaking. My heart began to thumping. My breakfast left my body.
Hijack the guards when they come in, nick their uniforms and stroll out. You seriously expect me to wear grey out of season? I'd rather hang.